Belugas and narwhals, two of the cutest whales out there, and they look completely different. But we found a hybrid between the two in the wild?
Supernova Style Science News with Julie 7 Sage.
In the 1980s, a Greenlandic hunter shot 3 whales and was very puzzled by their appearance. Because of that, he kept one of the skulls until several years later when it was given to the Natural History Museum of Denmark. It then sat on the shelves for 30 years until scientists were able to study the skull and found that it was a hybrid between a beluga and a narwhal. And the other 2 whales were of the same hybrid type. They're able to identify it using many ways. The first way was looking at the features of the specimen that they had. Here is what the skull looks like compared to a beluga skull and a narwhal skull. As you can see, the hybrid looks very different from either of them. The specimen has a slightly larger skull than both, and the teeth have the lines and direction of the narwhal teeth, but have the same approximate size and shape as the beluga teeth. An interesting fact about belugas and narwhals are that they are the only Arctic whales that have teeth. But back to the hybrid. The scientists also did an isotope analysis on the carbon in the bone and the nitrogen concentrations to see where the hybrid would have eaten. Both narwhals and belugas fed in this water column, but they have very different diets. This hybrid, however, appears to have been a bottom dweller. This is very interesting. There are other features of the skull that also look like a beluga or a narwhal or a cross between the two. The top part of the jaw is flattened out like a narwhal, but its overall shape is similar to a beluga. You can also see very 2 small teeth that are poking out from where the narwhal tusks usually go. The bottom part of the jaw is similar in shape to the narwhal, but has the thickness and overall curvature of the beluga. And the back part of the skull has a mixture of the shape of the narwhal and beluga. The skull also isn't the only part of the whale that was a mixture of the 2 types of whales. When you look at the body of the narwhal and beluga, they look completely different, even though they're each other's closest relative. The whales that were found, because remember that there are actually 3 found, but only 1 of their skulls were preserved, were described by the hunter that they had an evenly gray coloration and pectoral flippers like those of beluga, but had the tail of a narwhal. Of course, the scientists did even more testing on the hybrid specimen. They compared the small amount of DNA they could get from the skull and compared it to multiple narwhals and belugas. Not only was this the way they were able to confirm that it was in fact a hybrid, but they were able to identify its gender and what gender its parents were. The hybrid was a male, and its parents were a female narwhal and a male beluga. This is a first-generation hybrid, meaning that his parents weren't hybrids, proven by the amount of DNA that the narwhal and beluga had that was found in the specimen. The specimen is 54% beluga and 46% narwhal. This is the first evidence of belugas and narwhals having children together. They do live in similar areas, and this hybrid was found in an area that both narwhals and belugas live in. They also both do mate during the spring, and they have similar breeding and nursing behavior. So it is very possible for something like this to happen. I do have one question from the study, however. There are reportedly 3 of these hybrids found together, but belugas and narwhals only give birth to 1 baby every few years. Also, belugas and narwhals tend to stay in pods, which are groups of their species. If these 3 were all found together, there is a possibility of them all being a part of a pod. And since the 2 whales only give birth to 1 baby, that means that the 3 were probably not siblings. So what happened for that many belugas and narwhals to mate? It's something to think about. There are other studies that have shown other rare hybrids between other species of whales and dolphins have happened. However, there is no current sightings of this Belwhal hybrid. This must have been a very specific event to make this happen. You may have heard of this hybrid as the Narluga, but here's the reason why I'm calling it the Belwhal. According to scientific nomenclature, the first half of the name is the species of the father, and the second half of the name is the species of the mother. So since the hybrid has a beluga father and a narwhal mother, its name would be a Belwhal. The reason for this name methodology is different physical traits are shown depending on who the parents are. Like an example that most people have seen is a liger. The father is a lion and the mother is a tiger, which is different from a tigon. The father is a tiger and the mother is a lion. The top two images are the males and the bottom two images here are the females. As you can see, they look drastically different. However, sometimes scientists haven't followed this nomenclature due to the name that would be produced. Take the zonkey, for example. The zonkey has a zebra father and a donkey mother. So for a donkey father and a zebra mother, if you followed the nomenclature, you would get the Don Bra or the Donk Bra, which they did not want for an obvious reason. Thus why these are called Z-donks instead. And then there's other times that for some reason the nomenclature isn't followed at all. Like the mule, it's a donkey father and a horse mother. And then there's the hinny, which is a horse father and a donkey mother. But back to the Belwhal. There could still be a possibility of a Narluga if a male narwhal mated with a female beluga. This hybrid could look completely different from the Belwhal hybrid found. The Narluga could have a tusk coming out, which is a large tooth, or maybe have even two, which sometimes does happen in narwhals. So, who knows? There could be Narlugas out there. We might one day find more Belwhals. If you want to learn more, check out the links below in the description. If you want more cool science news, follow. Make sure to share cool science stories with your friends to show your supernova style.